dancing underneath the stars. Oh yeah, I want it all. Got me feeling like I wanna be that guy. I wanna kiss your eyes. I wanna drink that smile. I wanna feel like our souls on fire. I wanna stay up all day and all night. Yeah, you got me singing like I love the way you do it like that. And when you close up, give me the shivers. Oh baby, you wanna dance till the sunlight cracks. When we say the party's over, then we'll bring it right back. We'll say, I love the way you do it like that. And when you close up, give me the shivers. Baby, you wanna dance till the sunlight cracks. When we say the party's over, then we'll bring it right back into the car.
Welcome everyone. Thank you for joining us for today's webinar. My name is Kasturi Naidu from Unilever Food Solutions, which is one of the leading food service providers globally. Our presenter today is the Culinary Chef Experience Advisor of Unilever Food Solutions KZN, Chef Danielle. Today she will highlight a step-by-step guide to protecting your profits. Just a little housekeeping before we get started. If you have any questions during the presentation, please type them into the question box. Chef will answer them after the presentation. Now, without any further ado, we will turn our time to Chef Danielle.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you so much for joining my webinar on protecting your profits. I know costing and protecting your profits, especially in today's day and age, is very difficult and a very daunting task. So I thought today I'm going to assist you, and I will take you through a step-by-step costing as well. And I've added it into the handouts, which I will explain a little bit later, of a costing template that you can use in your establishment. So we'll kick off with the presentation. So starting off with food costing. To determine your food cost and to figure out your selling price of your dishes is probably the most scariest thing for any head chef, sous chef, restaurant owner, or anybody in the hospitality business. So food costing is really important to know, as it has a direct effect on your profitability of, it says restaurant, but we can use it for anyone in the hospitality industry, even if you are a home baker and selling your products at a flea market. So anybody that bakes or sells anything, this is for you. It is the cost of your ingredients, and it does not include your other costs, such as labor and your overheads. Everyone always forgets about those two things, but I will explain how to add them on to your food cost later on. So your food costing is an essential tool, and it determines whether your food cost targets are being met. So we'll start off on a basic recipe costing and understanding the basics of the recipe costing and why it is so important. So you know so that you can know how much your food cost is incurred on each recipe. This gives you a clear view of how much you earn per dish. If you are not adding your proper profits to your dish, you might as well not be doing it, because you are working for free. And no, none of us wants to work for free. So understand how to properly price your dishes to achieve your target profit, to study the way your competitor price their dishes against an industry benchmark. So this is very important. Say you've got a burger joint and there's about 3 or 4 other burger establishments in the area. You kind of have to judge to make sure you're on par with your competitors in the area. If you're doing a food cost and your burger works you out 140 Rand for your burger, that includes everything, your overheads and your labor costs, but your competitors aren't charging more than 120, that means that your food cost profit is going to be lower, but you'll have an industry standard. So know when to reduce the recipe costs. If you keep up to date with your costing and see that you are going beyond your target cost percentage, you can easily plan on how to reduce your cost and find out each menu item's profit margin. and decide which ones to promote through suggestive selling and promotion. So this is also very important. If you have an item on your menu that costs very low and your food profit or your cost profit is very high on that on that item specifically, and you push up your price, that means that you can promote that product. So your profits will be bigger at the end of it. Chat to your front of house staff, tell them how to promote the product, and get them to sell it. That means a little bit more money at the end of the day in your pocket. So your food costing tools, there are three of the most important ones. First one is your standardized recipe. You cannot run an establishment if you don't have a standardized recipe. That means that every chef in your establishment or cook in your establishment will cook the dish exactly the same. So it has your ingredients as well as your methods, and they don't veer from that. Because if the customer doesn't want to come and have a steak at your establishments this week and it tastes amazing, and then next week the chef didn't have red wine to make a red wine jus, so they just left it out, and now your customer is asking, but why is it different one week to the other? Also depends on, we are all human, so that means we have faults, and that also means that your chefs don't cook exactly the same. So having a standardized recipe will also assist with this. Your up-to-date ingredient cost. So we all know that this changes on a daily basis. I suggest that you do a ingredient cost at least once a month. With oil prices going to shoot through the roof, that's very important that we're going to look at the cost of your ingredients. And we all know that a cherry tomato at the moment in industry is, for a punnet, is almost 40 Rand, which is the most expensive thing on the menu at the moment, is a cherry tomato. And then your recipe cost sheet. So for recording data and all information about your recipe, such as your current unit cost, your actual ingredient cost, and your cost per portion. So there's steps that you can follow to make sure that you calculate a recipe correctly. Step one is to fill out your recipe costing sheet with the information based on a standard recipe to be based on actual current price list. Step two is to indicate the latest purchase cost of each ingredient based on your current price list. Third is to compute the actual cost of each ingredient. And then fourth, add actual cost of ingredients to your total recipe cost and divide the total recipe cost by the number of portions to get a cost per portion. So this sounds very daunting at the moment. I know that, but we will go through it step by step and you'll see how easy it actually is. So I've just got an example of a standardized recipe. So you'll see your name. We're going to do a costing on a Cajun chicken salad. You'll see that the name is very big and bold, so everybody in your kitchen knows what they are going to cook. And when you do your recipe costing, you also know that this is what you're costing. Then very important to know is the number of portions. So this recipe is 4 portions, or it yields 4 portions. That's your yield. Then it's got a list of your ingredients of how much each item goes into your recipe, and the method, which is a step-by-step on how to prepare your recipe. On the bottom left, we've got your recommended selling price. That is the whole recipe for 4 portions. And then it is divided to get your cost per portion. So this one works out to 21.26 Rand cost per portion. That is not your recommended selling price. This is just your cost per portion. So I will show you how to get to your recommended selling price. So your selling price, once you've done your food cost, you can figure out the selling price of your dishes with a basic formula. So your selling price is your food cost and your labor cost and your overhead cost plus your profit. So that means your selling price should include all of the costs plus the profit that you would like to earn. Then what should the food cost percentage of your selling price be? On average, you normally get that from the owner of the establishment of what their target is of food cost. but it's anything between 30 and 45%, then you know that you are making a good profit. So food cost and practice. Here's an example to show you how to find the selling price of your dish. So a restaurant has a target food cost percentage of 33%. I always work on a standard of 33%. Their newest recipe was calculated to have a food cost of 50 Rand per portion. So applying the 33% rule, the target selling price is 50 divided by 0.33, and it gives you 150 Rand. So that is your selling price. So given this number, the establishment can then decide on the final selling price, considering other factors such as your competitors, your volume, and your labor cost. I'm going to switch over now to an actual recipe. If you can just give me a quick second, I'll show you how to cost a recipe. Okay, perfect. Sorry about that. I'll be with you in a second. Okay, great. So this is a standard recipe costing template that I'll add into the handouts as well. And you're more than welcome to download it. And it's got all the formulas already calculated on there. You'll see my markup is at a 33% food cost. So the top, let's go through the costing template. At the top of your costing template is always your recipe name. So your Cajun chicken salad, then your total recipe yield. This is if you are making a big batch of oxtail and you want the full weight of the oxtail. You can add your kilogram yield in there. We are just working off 4 portions because we are not working off a kilogram or grams. And then your size per portion, if you are weighing in kilograms and you know that you're selling a portion size is 250 grams of oxtail per portion, you can add that in there. Then your number of portions of how many times 250 then goes into how much weight of oxtail you've got. And then the dates costed, which is very important because you know that once a month you have to redo your costings to know that you're up to date with your ingredients cost. On your right, you'll see the markup, which is 33%. Then we'll do a total cost per dish divided by the batch. And then the total recipe cost plus VAT. A lot of people forget about your VAT. Your cost per portion, and then your recommended selling price. As I said, all the formulas are already calculated in the sheet, so it's very easy for you. So this is how we will do this, is your ingredients. So from your recipe, standard recipe sheet, you'll add in all your ingredients on the left-hand side. Your unit is how much of each ingredient you will need for the recipe. So for this recipe, we're using 400 grams. This is your unit of measure. You'll see it's got a drop-down arrow and you can change it from grams to mils to each. So it's always very important to make sure that the weight of your packaging is the same as the weight that you're weighing in for your recipe cost. So this is your unit cost for your grams mil each. So, sorry, not your unit cost. This is the packaging size. So we're getting chicken in a 10 kilo box. Remember to convert. You can't just say 10 kilos there. We are working in grams, so you'll have to convert 10 kilograms into grams. So it works out to 10,000 grams. And then your cost per unit, this is what we are paying at the moment. And we paid 520 Rand for the box of chicken. If you press enter, it automatically works out your formula for you. If you would like to know how to work out this formula by hand, it is very easy. I'm going to type it for you. A very nice little story that you can always remember is the most important thing in life is what you want. And with this recipe, we want 400 grams. So it's always what you want over what you have. So you take 400 divided by 10,000 because that's the box size. And you times that. Wait, let me just double check that I am doing the right thing. Sorry, give me a second. 200 divided by... Perfect. Okay, so it's 400 divided by 10,000 times the price times the cost, which is 520. This, if you work it out on your calculator, this will give you 20 Rand and 80 cents. So just remember what you want, the most important thing, and divide it by what the packaging size actually is, times it with the amount that your ingredient cost. The next one we will do is lettuce. So the lettuce weighed about 100 grams. We need 100 grams for this recipe. The head of lettuce weighed 150, and we paid 9 Rand 99. Remember, with Excel, you use commas, not full stops when you work with numbers. Okay, enter. So the lettuce for this recipe costs 6 Rand 66. Cucumber, we need 100 grams. The average size of a cucumber is 300 grams. We paid 12 Rand 99. Oil, 30 grams. We need for this recipe, it comes in a 20-liter bucket. This is still a very old price of 680 Rand. It's shot up through the roof now. Cherry tomatoes, we need 100 grams. It comes in a 500-gram punnet. We paid 32 Rand 99. Red onion, we want 50 grams. It comes in a kilo, and it works out to 34 Rand 99. Feta, we want 100 grams. It comes in a 4-kilo bucket, and we pay 295 Rand 56. Carrots, we need 20 grams of carrots. It comes in a kilo, and we paid 14 Rand 99. Yellow pepper, we want 50 grams. It comes in a kilo. We pay 39 Rand 99. Robertson Cajun spice, because it's a Cajun chicken salad, the best spice under the sun, if you can ask me. It is 10 grams that we need for the recipe, and this is our average yield for our Robertson's Cajun spice. You only need 10 grams of spice for a kilo of chicken. And we paid 144 Rand and 41 cents. Then an avocado, this is where we will change it because we can't buy avos in kilograms and grams. We buy them loose. So we've changed this to each. So we want 1 avo. They come in a punnet of 2, and we pay 29 Rand 99. You will now see that once it's calculated all of your items on the right-hand side, it has calculated your total cost per recipe. It's calculated, and your formulas, if you click on it, your formulas are at the top there. It has calculated your VAT, your cost per portion, 19 Rand 34, and your recommended selling price with a food cost percentage of 33, and it works out to 58 Rand and 62 cents. Cool. So that's a nice example for everybody. I will just go back to the presentation quickly. Okay, give me a second. Trying to juggle from the one screen to the other screen is a little bit daunting, but we got it. There you go. I'm up and going. Okay, then I've got some exciting news. We've got an amazing app on that Unilever has created, which is a global app as well. It's called Unilever Food Solutions Academy app. So this is an app you can download on your phone. It's for free, and it has got hundreds of little videos and courses that you can do. After each course, there's a quick little quiz, and then you get a nice little certificate which you can add onto your CV. So a nice one to do is, so the food costing and maximizing profits is a nice one to do on the UFS Academy app. And then just a reminder to please follow me on Instagram. So my handle is @Chef Danielle _SA. I've got share quite nice little exciting things that we're working on in the kitchen, as well as some of my personal stuff. I've got a nice little boxing video. That's what I do in my spare time to keep fit, that I'll add on soon. Please don't laugh. Great. Cass?
Thank you, Chef. We will now go ahead and take some questions.
Sorry, I have to flip on the other screen again. So Helen has got a question. Where can I download the spreadsheet, please? As I said, I will add it as a handout. So the whole presentation as well as the Excel spreadsheet will be added as a handout that you can download, and you'll always be able to have it with you. Do we have any other questions? I'll just go through it quickly. Another one asking about the template. Yes, we'll add it on, definitely.
Chef, do you just want to put in that little calculation that you did into the chat box for them?
Sure, let me do that quickly. So just going to work off the chicken. It's 400 divided by 10,000 times 520. Times 520, which is what you, sorry, I'm typing as Kasturi, but it's actually me. So it's what you want. Want divided by what you have, and then times by the cost.
Perfect. Thank you, Chef, for sharing that. So it looks like we have another question, Chef.
Sure, let's check it out. We've got another question. How often can we review the sheet? Once a month, I would suggest. Or if you don't have the time to do it once a month, maybe you can do it once every season, so 4 times a year. We all know that we get different fruits and vegetables in season and different times of the year, so it's nice to always do that seasonally. I know one of the favorites in Durban is avocados, and we've got a nice avo season where you can pick up an avo for 3 Rand an avo, and when it's not avo season, you pay 20, 30 Rand for an avo. So yeah, it's always good to, if you at least do it once every season, so 4 times a year. Awesome.
Thank you, Chef. So doesn't look like we have any more questions.
We actually do, Chef. Cass, she is like my chef. What is the best way to cut wastage? I think that's actually a very nice topic that I can do for my next webinar. It is a major problem in all establishments. So I'll do one on wastage, but always remember when you design a menu, to take a item, say it is an avocado, and make sure that that avo is used in at least 3 dishes on your menu. It doesn't help you've got an exotic mushroom on your menu and it's only used on 1 item. That means that it will go off and you are going to throw it away. There is some very exciting things that you can, or very important things that you can do as well, is the first one in, first one out rule, which we as chefs know as FIFO. And there's another couple of tips, but I think that's a good idea for my next webinar. Thank you to Matt. Thank you to Matt for that idea. I'll do a nice one on wastage, maybe some on personal hygiene, going back to basics. I think after COVID, everyone has kind of forgotten how important it is to go back to basics, and all establishments need that at the moment. We've got another question. So how do you cost veggies that you grow and harvest yourself? I would get an average cost of what they cost in the shops. So if you do use a supplier that delivers your vegetables to you, you can use a pricing sheet from them. Or if push comes to shove, use a Food Lovers or Checkers price, because that's probably the lowest retail price you can get. Thank you for that, Marius. Gus, I think that's it.
Awesome. Is there anything else you want to cover, Chef, before we wrap up?
No, I think that's it. Thank you so much for all the questions, and thank you so much for joining my webinar. As I said, I'll do wastage and back to basics, I think, for the next couple of webinars, as it's really important in the industry at the moment. Don't forget to follow me on Instagram at Chef Danielle _SA for some exciting tips and my very funny boxing video. You guys promise not to laugh.
Thank you, Chef. And thank you, everyone, for joining. We really appreciate you being here. So look out for the next email for our next webinar. And should you have any suggestions or feedback on this webinar, please put it into the chat box. Thanks again for joining us today, and we look forward to seeing you next time.
Thank you so much, guys. See you soon all around on Instagram. Bye.